Welcome to Season 2 of Why Your Business is Invisible Online. This season, we focus on the dramatic change artificial intelligence is having on your online visibility. Joining me are my two co-hosts, and here they are.
Hi, this is Jim Filatico. I'm currently obsessed with planning my next beach adventure for my whole family.
Hi, I'm Kelly Biggs. We're talking about AI this season. I'm wondering, can I get an AI agent to clean my house?
And I'm your host, John Manatis, still glued to my guitar, but with my new band planning our next tour. Okay, so let's say you're not technical. So what? Here's where AI can help you right now. So if I'm a CMO or a chief marketing officer, or I run my own business and I don't have a development team, and I'm not trying to automate the entire company, but I am trying to stop the chaos. So where does someone actually start?
So I think that the first point that you made inside of this, John, is important. Like, you do not want to start with automating your whole company.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Because what you got to do is figure out your points. And I know, and not to be self-promoting, but also to be self-promoting. WSI has, Jim mentioned that we're AI certified, right? Mm-hmm. And so part of that certification is just really helping businesses like that to understand, what do I need to do, right? And it is a process. Surprise, surprise. Everything is like, even what you're trying to do is probably some broken processes. Mm-hmm. And so what happens with us is we take you through this AI framework in which we can assess quickly, and we'll load this on the website. We can give you an AI assessment, like, where are you right now? We can kind of, like, is it with your whole process? Is it with the people that need to be upskilled? Like, where do we need to be? Do you even have an AI policy? Number one, if you are using AI, if you think your employees are using AI, and you don't have an AI policy, mm-hmm. that's a clear number one thing that you really do have to do. If we've talked all this season about how AI can hallucinate, right?
Yep.
And so imagine that you have an intern who has decided to come into your organization and they want to, make themselves well known, and they start to create your content using AI. They have no guardrails. They don't know enough about your business to know what's true and what's not and what's unique. And imagine that they go to Perplexity or one of these other things, and they pull up a resource that's your direct competitor, or even worse, have made it up. Is that, you haven't told them it's not okay. And you haven't even checked to see if that's what they're doing. So there's a lot of risk to this. And so if I'm a business owner, I'm probably, this is my very first priority, is to figure this out, and where and when and how. I know resources are finite, but you need to figure out where you're going to start. And like I say, go to our website, pull one of the resources that you have. Feel free to talk to, we can schedule a call, have that conversation. But those are the things that need to happen yesterday.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, right now, if you don't know, you don't know. And there's a really good chance that your employees are using some sort of AI. And if you don't know what they're using it for, you don't know what you can get in trouble for or not. And you don't want that to happen. So you have to have those guardrails in place. Like Kelly said, you have to understand how people are using it, why they're using it, and then put a process in place that kind of champions what should be done in your business. And like Kelly said, we can help you go through the process that will identify where the quick wins are. We're the ones that can bring back the most return. Because right now it's, like Kelly said, budgets are set, budgets are tight. But if there's money to be saved, and we don't mean by getting rid of people, but by just improving procedures anywhere in the business, why not take advantage of that? So there's great opportunities with AI, but you have to really be aware and cognizant of the pitfalls. And right now, with enterprise type businesses, everybody has a policy. Everybody has, a whole group that's all they do is work on that. But, mid-sized businesses and small businesses don't, and they really need to make sure that they can compete because their competitors are using it, but you have to use it responsibly. And so that is the first thing that should be done is to make sure that you have some sort of understanding of what's happening today, and then what should be happening, and a policy in place that lets you do it responsibly moving forward.
So we're gonna move into some of the real details and not the hypotheticals. We're gonna look at some real workflows, real gains, and I'm just gonna throw out a bunch of ideas here and dig into your memory in terms of what maybe some of your clients are using some of these, maybe just some friends that are using some of these. But I think they're all excellent topics for us to look for use cases for our listeners. So the first one. Visual sometimes, we work on the content, the written content so much that visual sometimes can become last minute. What does AI do to help teams look a bit more polished, even without having, designers on staff? I'll mention one in a second, but Kelly, I don't know if anything comes to mind immediately on that topic.
Yeah, I think this is where you can get significant gains, save significant amounts of money, to be quite honest. Stock photos are still stock photos. We've talked about before. The best are the behind the scenes, the what people can see of your business. But sometimes you need supplemental image creation. So for me, right now, my favorite go-to the thing is AI can create images for you, and they keep getting better and better and better and better. And so at first I wasn't fooling with Chat GPT because everything looked really, really bad. I love Chat GPT for taking an existing image and enhancing it or re-editing and things of that nature. You have to own the rights if you're doing that. So don't go to Google and pull something down that you don't own. It doesn't stop that, right? You still could have some copyright issues, and you gotta, if it says, if you're using a piece of content, even a stock photo that you got legitimately, you also then need to make sure that you're able to alter it or use it as a base, and that you're okay to use it. Like, those are things that somebody on your team should be responsible for knowing, because you can't play with somebody else's logo. So those are the risks. And also, if you're using it to create your own logo, you can't trademark it. Okay. So, so just know these are things you need to know. But what you can do, one of the things that I really like to do, and if anybody, I'll take you through my process of creating the thumbnails that we do.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Smart.
So what we'll do is, what I'll do first is just kind of look through. I'll take the transcripts for something that we've recorded. I dump that into a GPT that I've created. And the GPT has been trained to come up with something cute, quick, clever as a title. And then beyond that, or I will say by that time, I will have already developed the title. Like, here's the title. What's a nugget here that you see that could translate well into a visual? And then I've trained it. There are 3 different types of visuals that I've trained it for. So let me take you back there to where I started the training. So my favorite is ideogram, ideogram.ai for visual creation. And so, and I'll tell you, and I do pay for it. And so what you can do, it has a whole gallery of things. So you could go through and be informed on, here's a picture. I really like this picture. That's what I want it to look like. And then it gives you what that prompt was to create that thing. So now I'll take that prompt and go back. I went back into when I was training my GPT, I took that prompt and said, like, started there and said, this is the type of visual I want to create. So again, I'm training it. Like, this is, remember this. And I say that means my memory is always updated. Remember this. When I'm asking for a cartoon style picture, remember this. And so now he remembers that when I'm doing it for this, it can now create the prompt that I'm then going to go feed into ideogram. So I'm going back and forth between the two AIs. I say that also to say not all of them cover everything. So I've never picked one AI to do all the things that I needed to do.
That's right.
I'm still, no matter how smart they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm using, some are good at certain things, some are good at others, just like businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I use that. It will create, and the reason I like ideogram a lot is because it will, from that one prompt, give me 4 different views of which I can pick from.
Yeah, it's nice to get options.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of them will charge you, or you got to get charged a credit for it. I'm on their very lowest version, and I do a lot. I've never run out of credits. And so anyway, that is what I would say is a really good use case for what you would do. But to your point, I think, Jim, you mentioned it's not going to get rid of anybody's job per se. Like, who's taking the time to do that? Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and there's times when I'm doing it for us and I'm like, God, I got to get this done. You know, I do
It's still a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. I use it to clean up images. Some of my clients will get images done and I'll use it to clean up, make them less blurry, cut out some things in the background or whatever.
What are you using for that? Canva or something else?
Sometimes Canva. Now you can use chat. Actually, will do that. Yeah, that helps a lot with those kind of, when you're doing posts and things like that. You try to stay away from stock and you have to beg for images a lot of times from clients.
Yeah.
Especially if you want, like, in use, when you add that context, you really need that. And that really helps, but it also is more difficult to get. That helps a lot by cleaning up images.
I think I'll make you guys laugh with this one. You guys remember this? You guys actually helped me solve the problem with this image issue. Recent one. One of my I don't know what I was thinking, but I was putting together a blog post for an HVAC company, and it was all about spring maintenance, just tips. It was a checklist basically for people that are, jumping into their HVAC duties in the springtime. And it was a great blog, but I guess I rushed it, and I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but I found this really nice picture of an outdoor, perfectly installed air conditioning unit. And I grabbed it right away and I put it right at the top. Got to the point where I actually posted it on all the social media platforms, on the website. So it's all done. I'm thinking it's done. And then one day I was looking at it and saying, oh, geez, what's wrong with this picture? So the picture had the air conditioner surrounded by dry leaves, which of course is autumn, not spring. And I go, oh, geez, how do I fix this?
John, had you alt tagged it? Spring HVAC in the spring, clean it.
I think the SEO team did that, yeah. But unfortunately, visually, even without the alt tags, it was bad. So Kelly saw that and had an idea and said, "Well, you can just fix that." And using, I think it was ChatGPT that did the initial work, and with a few commands, it basically took the photo, removed the leaves, left the air conditioner in pristine condition right outside the house, and all I had to do is come up with another command that said, okay, throw in a few tulips, a few forsythias, a few springtime flowers in a nice garden around the air conditioner, and it did look like an AI photo. Clearly, it wasn't a stock photo, but regardless, it was gorgeous. And so easy, find, replace, and we're in good shape now. So it was a good save situation for any potential screw ups. The other thing I use AI often for is whenever you're building a website and you need those little icons that are visually representative of a section you want to highlight. They're hard. They're really hard to figure out on your own. That's where I think you sometimes do need a real designer. But funny enough, AI does an amazing job of coming up with some really cool ideas. And to Jim's point, it does give you choices. So yeah, whenever you can, use AI for your icons when you're building websites. It does save you a lot of time, and they're pretty smart icons. So staring at a blank deck the night before a meeting, and I'm sure that's happened to all of us.
No, never.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe not recently for you guys, but it still happens. So what can AI realistically take off your plate when you're stuck in that situation?
If you want to make sure you're making a point and you need a graphic or you need something, it really helps add that bit of drama, a bit of splash, a bit of whatever that makes it stand out as opposed to just a bullet point. So that really helps. And a lot of the programs now are built in, so you don't even need to go anywhere else. You can do it within PowerPoint. You can do it within Sheets or whatever. It'll provide for you. But if you wanted to really go to chat or somebody else and say, okay, this is what I'm looking for, it will help with that as well. And it's not like you're not making anything up necessarily. You're providing it the data. You just want to make it stand out for the client. So that really helps as opposed to boring spreadsheets. And I'm not for, the planes flying in and the slides moving all over the place. I don't.
You're not an animation person.
Yeah, I don't like that as much. But I do like
a cute GIF is nice.
It's not bad. Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always end up with a glass of wine in my hand when you do mine. So I don't understand. But I do like, people are visual learners. And so being able to come up with something that's great, it really helps.
One, I try to repurpose anything. So for me, it's very rare that I need a presentation that I'm doing net new content.
Sure.
And if I am, I'm probably not waiting the day before to be honest. I'm just not. But I'll repurpose something, and I'll just say, okay, here's a document. You got to load it up, I think, like in a PDF format. But you can say, like, here's a presentation. Here's my new audience. Here's my like. I just give it a loads of context, and then I ask it to tell me, what changes I could make. And again, with my personality, I like to play games when I'm doing presentations. I like to be super memorable. I love a mnemonic. And so all of those things, right? And to be quite honest, that has been super effective in my presentations. Whenever I have a mnemonic or I say there's 5 steps or whatever, I'm repurposing content that way, especially if I'm speaking, if I'm presenting to a client, I might have 1 or 2 new things that I'm adding, but somewhere along the way they have it. But it does a really good job of just taking that content and say, change this, change that. Yep. And so rather than me pouring hours into it, I've just probably saved myself a few hours. Maybe something that would have taken me 3 hours is now 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it a lot, like because of its reasoning powers now, and even with deep research now. If I'm really literally staring at a blank screen, I give it the context, I give it the background information, saying this is what I'm facing. It's almost like having a super smart PhD like friend who you can talk to about this situation, and then the ideas it just flows out of ChatGPT, And then I don't even know where it's going to go at the beginning. But once you start the conversation with ChatGPT, and it can go on for a while, especially if I was staring at a blank screen, I didn't have an idea which direction I wanted to take it. And then magically, you're going down this path that ends up being a pretty amazing presentation in the end. So does it save me a lot of time? Not necessarily. But in the end, I'm really happy with the product. It takes me down a path that I might not have creatively figured out on my own. So I've done that a number of times, and it's worked out nicely. It's just nice having a really smart entity that you can, once you're in a place you like, you can start branching out with ChatGPT, and it gives you some really interesting ideas. Because let's face it, it has the whole internet at its disposal, and it throws stuff at you that makes you think at that point. So amazing tool for situations where you're, blank deck night before a meeting. I highly recommend it. Next one, training usually gets pushed to when we have time. How are people creating like really clean, on-brand training without your own studio? Have you guys used it for training packages of anything you're teaching people that way you're using AI?
Yeah, I think again a breakthrough here is, and I'm just giving you there. I'm sure there are other ones out there. I can only speak to the ones I've used, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for training videos. This is where I think AI could actually replace people, save you tons of money. If I had to train a group, if I knew that I needed to do a training video for people, I would probably not hire a writer to do this for me at this point. I would. I'm saying this really carefully. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people will say you can put anything that you want to out in the AI universe and that it's protected because it's like a needle in a haystack and it's not looking for that. I still would not go the route of putting my trade secrets out there.
That's right.
I wouldn't. However, I do like tools like a Synthesia, right? Where your information, they're not going out they're not training other people on your information. So you got to figure out a way to, and that's where I say you probably want to talk to a specialist to help you to make sure all the things are guardrailed. You might hire somebody to get your script together. If you have standard operating procedures, perhaps a notebook LLM. Remember when we met Maya and Miles?
That's right.
It keeps everything confined. Nobody's learning on it. So you can take your documents and you say, here's my training video for this. Create a script for me for a training video. You take that video, you put it into Synthesia, which has the AI people, which, the way you can pick your person, you can pick your avatar, you got to pay for it, obviously. I think I pay like $29 a month. Somebody's going to how much is she spending on AI?
Yeah.
But it's not free.
Don't ask.
Right. It's not free. So that I say that to say when you're asking somebody like, can't your AI do it? Yeah, but it's a cost that they're spending. Like, and if they're not, then you don't want to use them. Like you need somebody who's paid for it. But I would look at doing videos exclusively without hiring a whole staff to do that for me anymore. And they're really good at it. Mnemonics, they could even come up with different FAQs to test. Once it becomes a living, breathing document, they can make sure that your employees understand what's going on and do that testing and those models. So, because I think when you're hiring for training, it could cost you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You could probably easily go through it. And another option is even with you now, if it's just something quick and easy, you could just most people have already invested in Zoom. You could, I do this all the time. Like I have some teammates that we just don't see each other. We're not in the same physical place. And so they might be working on something when I'm not available. So rather than just communicate strictly via text or email, which a lot can get lost, do a video and just say, hey, this is what's going on. See here. I'll take them through a screenshot.
That's always better.
Keep that over because a video is what I tried that. I don't know if any of you tried. I tried this with my clients. And like I was doing my, like, here's my report. Here's how we're doing. Like the majority of them are like, just get on the call. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, and understand your audience is what I'm saying. But I think training is a perfect place to use AI.
Yeah, one of the things that we've done for our clients is a little bit different tack, but we'll take all of the reviews, we'll take the frequently asked questions that we get through a chat bot, we'll get the frequently asked questions that they get through customer service, and we'll put all that and then put all that into chat or whatever and say, okay, based on these questions, please develop an FAQ and a training program for customer service so they can understand what's coming up, what kind of questions they can expect. And that's really helped them become the expert. And then on top of that, you can also now add that to an AI-driven chatbot. So that way, if you have an AI-driven chatbot on your website, those frequently asked questions that you've kind of preloaded are there. And then obviously, because it's AI-driven, it learns on that plus anything new. So that's really been helpful as far as, you're kind of training the company, training the customer service people, and also training the chatbot to kind of all speak off the same page too. That's been helpful.
Great tactic, especially we know how much AI loves the FAQs that are done properly. So, and we talked about target personas before, how important they are for your specific target if you want to get meaningful leads. We've all been in enough meetings that have tired us out, so meeting fatigue is real. How can AI help extract action items that, extract action items and keep people moving in meetings? Like how can AI help us with meetings in general? Have you guys used AI at all in any kind of meeting situation? I haven't yet. I don't know if you guys have any examples.
Kelly mentioned that she'll send out her notes to the client. She'll look them over and see what you have to get done and stuff. And I have not sent them out to the clients, but I have used them for takeaways. What the client has said that I might have missed or whatever, and make sure that I bring it back up. I like the summaries that they put together. The other thing that I use it for, frankly, is we have a lot of meetings through WSI and a lot of opportunities to be trained and a lot of opportunities just to be on webinars and different things. And a lot of times you'll get that client phone call right in the middle of it. And you'll take the call and you're missing out on whatever's going on, but you can always go back to the summaries and check them out. WSI is great at that. When they do their meetings, they'll actually send out an email and they'll have clickable links that have the different sections of the meeting that, I may have missed from a phone call that I can click and watch. So I think it's very helpful. And I think it allows you to probably multitask more than you should. But at the same time, it allows you to not lose that knowledge or lose that information. So any sort of meetings you have when they're on Zoom or whatever really are helpful to get those summaries and understand what needs to be done next.
It's interesting. I would say the other piece of it that I think people miss sometimes here is also, this has allowed me to be very present when I'm talking to clients, meaning when I tell them, I'm using AI to record our meeting, and then I'm able to be more curious with my clients, and so I'm present, and then I'm just asking questions because I know I can go back. Another thing is helpful. Another thing is helpful is like I'll forget. Like you don't always have time to go back to the meetings right then, and you're like, I know I was supposed to be doing something for this client. And you can go back and you can say, hey, what were my action items? Even to your point, Jim, even if I don't share them, I can just make sure that I'm good with every single client because I have it recorded. And sometimes I'm going back 3-4 weeks later and listening in just to see, what else did we say?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's great. It's great for that.
You guys know I love my Rocketbook, but my handwriting is horrible. And like you said, Kelly, to be present, if I'm writing notes, I might not be hearing everything. So it's a lot better than trying to scribble down notes that I won't be able to read later anyway. You know what I mean? To be present, like you said. So that definitely helps.
And which one was the best tool? Yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier. Is it Phantom? You said, Kelly, that.
I wouldn't say the best. They all kind of do the same thing. Yeah. So, but I use Phantom.
Okay.
I think the AI companion inside of Zoom is probably really good.
That's pretty
I like
good.
that one. I like that one a lot. Yeah.
Okay. It summarizes well. Okay, that's good. Yeah, being present in meetings. Yeah, it's hard to do both at the same time. Take copious notes and be really present where you can probe certain areas that need to be probed in a meeting. I think that's the biggest win with this kind of AI tool. Okay, so just to wrap up this section, let's each of us tell me about one of the best sort of uses that you have implemented or just enjoyed using AI. Like it could be a tool, it could be an experience, it could be what you use it for all the time. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I have one in mind.
I have what I like is Constant Contact. I enjoy the way it helps you write emails. It can help you write social posts, and I love the tracking and everything within it. But the AI portion of it is helpful because, for instance, I'll write emails for our weekly email blast for our podcast, and so I'll take our podcast notes, I'll take the key takeaways and those kind of things and throw it in, and it'll help me write a paragraph that I can send out in an email or put in a post. And I take that and I massage it and I personalize it to us. But it kind of gets me 75, 80% there. And so it really helps with that. And it also helps update when you want to make sure that do you want to have a different title? Do you want to have a different subheader? Do you want to make it friendly? Do you want to make it informative? Do you want to make it whatever? And it'll help tweak that. So it's just faster. You still need to read it. You still need to edit it. You still need to make it your own, but it kind of gets you going on that. And John, you mentioned something earlier about using it, and it helps kind of get the juices flowing. Sometimes, like when you were saying icons, this is the same kind of thing. It just kind of kicks you in the butt and says, okay, let's do let's put a good email together, whatever. So Constant Contact is really helpful. And I've got quite a few of my clients using it, and some clients I do it for them, and it really helps take some of the burden and the dread of having to get it done. So I really like that.
Yeah. For me, so you took one of mine. I love Constant Contact. All the things that you said, the AI that they've used in it keeps me in the platform. I don't have to keep jumping back and forth. So those are great. My other favorite is going to have to be Canva. I've like Canva it's interesting because when I talk to my graphic designer people, they probably feel like we do when our clients say, ChatGPT wrote a blog for me. Can't, and I get it. But Canva will say one of the things it was founded on was making graphic design accessible to everyone. And so, they do a really good job, in my opinion, that way. For some things, I do have graphic designers that, that call for a little more, but their recent launch, there's a lot of things in the tool. They're even doing AI coding in their thing, which is And, I feel a certain kind of way about it. So I'll tell you what, and I'll be honest, like what it does well and what it doesn't. So can it code? Yes. Can you, if you don't know code, is it going to be super helpful for you? Not really, right? Because I don't, right now it doesn't give you the native code. It's hard to recreate the same thing again. Again, I've talked to people who do code, and they say they use it, but sometimes they have to go in and change it themselves, because it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Human in the middle.
Exactly what you needed to do. So if you don't know, you don't know. But that said, I used it actually recently to create a timeline of history for a web page for a client of mine, and we've taken them through a whole lot of the design work that we've done for their entire web page. And just the other day, he was like, "You know what? My favorite part of what you're doing for me is," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "The timeline." And so, I just appreciate that Canva stays ahead of the curve. And you know what they do? They really do a lot of this user content to inform. They're going to always be better because they're listening to their clients to make the AI better and to do what the things their clients are asking them to do. So, yeah, that's one of my favorite. And again, it's what we talk about. It should be making the tools smarter for you. And so they've definitely created some really nice shortcuts that both, I would say both digital marketers and those solopreneurs out there, God bless you, they just need something to help you. To me, both Constant Contact and Canva are great resources to those type of clients.
Yeah.
The big three, the ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude as well, I use for different things. But common to all three of those, I constantly use them to optimize or give me the best of. And especially now that the reasoning has gotten so much stronger with all of them, I would say. And if I need resources, in terms of references and so forth, Perplexity I tend to lean on. If I need to simplify writing, I tend to lean on Claude. It does a good job of taking a lot of content and really making it more succinct. But optimizing it, I use a lot. So, for example, I needed to do a bit of a best of competitor comparison around the hosting providers out there, the GoDaddies and the Bluehosts and so forth. Which one and why which one had the best conversion rates? Which one impacted conversion the best and at what price and so forth? So I would go down layers and it gave me multiple ideas that I could go back to the client with in terms of making that choice and giving them the explanation. But I'll use it for things like just even around the house. I had to create an optimal design on a shed of a roof once to deal with certain things I had to put on the roof and space them accordingly, and just probing and using AI to come up with the design of how to do that was amazing. It does a great job of helping you with practical things every day. But I even, like when I'm doing a blog post, I ask it, if this is the post, what's the best photos I would use? And then I could use stock. I could get it to generate one. So just that mindset of the best headlines for a landing page, best headline before you're putting a lead magnet on any of your pages. How do you sell it? I mentioned that earlier. So try to use it as much as you can for ideas around how to do things like the best or optimizing. So, guys, that was a great episode. I learned a ton things that I don't use, and now I will start using. So thank you for adding all that insight to today's episode. If anybody's listening, I hope you saw the potential that I'm seeing as well. Hopefully, you saw some quick start ideas for your own business. With that, I wanted to hand it back to both Kelly and Jim to talk about some interesting projects, ideas, and things that are coming up in their world that might be perfect for your world as well.
One of the things that we're going to do, because I know a lot of times you're just like, so what do we do from here? We got you convinced that AI is where you need to do. So we're going to host a workshop. And so what you're going to be able to do is to apply for it, and we'll have a set limit. So you'll want to go ahead and do that. If you're a subscriber, you got a hold of this a little bit faster than others. So go ahead and do that. Jim and I will take you through a workshop of like what AI is, how you may or may not be using it effectively, and just where to start. And I won't just say, I know most of you are probably using it on some level, but start in the sense of, I really want to think about moving my business forward with that. And we're going to help you to build actually your first AI use case right there inside of the workshop.
Yeah, using it more strategically, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about coding or anything like that. We'll be gentle and not overwhelmed, but it's just a better way to get stuff done, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad you guys are doing that. I think that's going to be very, very helpful, very practical for people who are just trying to get a good start. I like the title that you guys are using. Where to start with AI? Just the ROI. So focusing on return on investment is critical. So that's great. In terms of where to go to save your seat, Kelly, Jim, where do you think they can go? I mean, I'm assuming we're going to publicize this on areyouinvisibleonline.com.
That is correct.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Anywhere else you want people to go, or that's the one-stop shop to get to sign up for this?
It'll probably end up in a LinkedIn post too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which will take them back to their website.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, perfect. So everybody just go to our website. It'll be there soon. And hopefully you were able to get some things sort of off your plate by listening to us today and get moving in with some of these AI ideas. Now, I know probably a lot of your competitors are doing these things already, but again, we said it right off the bat, you're not that far behind. It's a great time right now to jump on board and start learning some of these AI tools. And with that, that's a wrap for today. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you for tuning in to Why Your Business is Invisible Online. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do us a favor and subscribe and follow us on Spotify and Apple. Be sure to share it with other business owners who might find it helpful. If you want to dig deeper, contact us at repeatable.online.com. That's capital letter R, capital letter U, followed by invisibleonline.com. Or message us on our LinkedIn business profile with the same title, Are You Invisible Online? The information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and may or may not reflect the official policy or position of WSI Corporate. Always consult a qualified digital marketing expert before making significant changes to your online strategy. Until next time, keep connecting with the people who matter most to your business and join us for our next episode.